We are live. Six-figure Medicare Agent. My name's Glen Shelton. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Christian Brindle. This is Taco Tuesday Part 3. Part 3, I think.
Is this the third one? Have we done that many?
I don't know if you count the first one. Since you remember the first, the first one was like
There's a disaster. The first one.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with your internet connection over there.
I take full responsibility for the first Taco Tuesday disaster, but I will still count that as a Taco Tuesday.
Okay, then it is Part 3. So Part 3, Taco Tuesday, you guys. Today, I'm going to just jump right into my tacos today because I'm really excited. I've been doing Taco Bell were my last two sessions here. Today, I have the rolled taco. This is from Taco Time. This is just a bean rolled taco, but I'm telling you guys, this is the best. I want you to just hear the crunch because my microphone here. Just ready. Get ready. Got it. Salsa, but you got to wait for it.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Guys. I think we're done. I think that was it.
end of stream.
That's it, you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time. Next Taco Tuesday. So I basically went very lazy with my Taco Tuesday selection, and I did the basic Del Taco taco, but this one has tomatoes on it, so we took it up a notch. We're playing dangerously today.
Ooh, they charge you like an extra 20 cents.
Probably.
I don't know. A penny of tomatoes for 20 cents. Hashtag margins. How to make money.
I was that's some great margins. So I was telling you before we came on, I was so slammed today. I was so busy. I did not have time to run and get the tacos, so I sent my assistant out to get the tacos. So I had really no say in what the taco selection would look like.
I hope you bought your assistant tacos. I hope
I bought her tacos before, but not this time. She didn't ask.
I would if I were her, I would have just like ran your card for I would have been like, I'm getting $20 of tacos just for myself. Just ran it.
You roll up through the drive-thru and you're like, how many tacos do you think you have in house right now? And they're like, I don't know, maybe 100. I'll take them all.
I pulled up to the drive-thru and I was like, I'd like a dozen. And she's like, did you say 12? Like, I was like, just give me a dozen. I'm like, come on. And don't shake me either. It's Tuesday. I don't know why everyone's not here buying tacos, but it's not just about tacos today, you guys. We're also here to discuss all things insurance related, specifically Medicare or senior insurance, as I also like to call it. Christian, fill us in. What's the latest? What's the latest right now? It's July 2020. Yeezy's running for president. We're probably going to get an album dropped in November. So I think it's AP is going to be special.
It'll be distracting for one. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, because like if it happens and there's a Kanye West presidential debate, I mean, I don't care how many appointments I have, whatever I have to do, I'm watching that debate. I have to watch that debate.
There's no way Kanye is going to be. This is a total tangent, but I don't even know if there will be debates this year. Like if I had to guess on the trend of 2020, since everything's like canceled, I'm assuming the debates are canceled. There's gonna be like, just vote. They're like, we're not doing anything else. No more campaigning, no more debates. Just vote this year, you guys.
So what they could do to really mix it up is they could do a presidential Zoom debate where no one can hear each other and they're all talking over each other. So like you have Biden here, you have DT here, and then Kanye down here, and he's just looking up at both of them and yelling at them. And
What if it was
I would watch that.
I saw someone post it may have been actually on your post when you posted about it, where someone said, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with Kanye running as long as the debate is a rap battle. I was like, yes. Yes, I need a presidential rap battle to tie this back to insurance, though. One thing that I will tell you guys that I am slightly concerned about with the presidential election this year, and this is from historical. we were operational at Lead Heroes in 2016. We started in 2015, so we were already full steam in 2016. And I will say that it's going to be a hurdle that you're going to have to overcome between people being distracted, marketing. This is what's really going to suck, in my opinion. Again, coming from the marketing side of the business, there's millions of dollars that's going to get dumped in. Not only that, but in classic government form, TCPA compliance, anything political is a total loophole. So the do not call list, none of that applies to anything political. So that they can just start blasting phones. They can do voicemail drops, robocalls. They can do whatever they want as long as it's political facing for the election. So again, for someone who owns a call center, and it's going to apply really, I think, to all of us, though, because most of us are going to be on the phones for this AEP. It's just going to be an extra hurdle. So you're probably going to have a slightly lower contact rate, maybe a significant, if you're trying to sell in a battleground state, good luck. If they're dumping millions in advertising into a state you're trying to sell in. So, I'm not trying to predict the future here, but if I had to give some advice, I would say if you normally sell in a battleground state, maybe look at states outside of that to sell in for AEP.
I think that's a great point. I think another thing that I said, I put out a video last week about, how to get, basically prepared for AEP right now. And one thing I said in there that I kind of got a lot of hate for, I got a lot of shit for it. And I don't quite understand why people push back on me so heavily against this. But I basically said, if it was me, and I am an agent, so I'm just telling people what I'm doing. I have no interest this upcoming AEP in events of any kind. Putting money down for venues, making preparations, scheduling events with CMS or the carriers or anything like that. I just don't have any interest in it this upcoming AEP because it's a crapshoot. What do we know? We have no idea what's going to happen. How do we know we're not going to have another quarantine come down the line? How do we know we're not going to be in a situation where we can't have more than 5 people in a room together or something like that? I mean, I just think it's a really bad idea and waste of time and money and energy and everything above.
Yeah. We talked about some insurance conferences. I don't think I need to name exactly which ones we're talking about, but I was surprised to see it was being marketed as much as it was going into everything that's going on. And I personally, I think, I've seen some agents talk about seminars, right? Just like you were talking about right there. I mean, it kind of blows my mind. I'm like, why would you be investing or thinking about ramping up some, even if it doesn't happen, but just the likelihood, right? Just the possibility that you could plan the most important time of the year as a Medicare agent, right? I mean, if a lot of Medicare agents, some of them literally don't work except AEP. So you've got the one time that you're going to make money. You're about to make a year's worth of money in 8 weeks. Your entire annual commission here, and you're going to bet on something face to face. I think that would be mind-boggling to me. I mean, again, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying don't necessarily try it, but at least have a diversified plan or a backup plan, for selling over the phone or doing something remotely. I wouldn't bet on selling face to face. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't kill me.
And in terms of Rebecca Davis just entered the chat. So she might roast you in the comment section.
Rebecca, get a taco. Calm down. But anyway, get a taco. Just go get a taco. Eat a taco. And then we'll talk about it some more. Oh, did we lose?
We'll calmly talk this out. We'll calmly get to a solution here. So I think with the conferences, that's kind of interesting is if it was me, if I put myself in their shoes and I was running a conference, I mean, they probably invested a good chunk of change in the venues and the hotels and everything like that. And I'm sure it's probably a situation where they can't get their money back, or they can get a very small percentage of their money back if they just full on cancel. So from the people that are all running all these events perspective, I get it. I get why they're trying to hang on, because it's either that or they just lost all the money they invested in the event, you know.
Right.
I get it, you know, but it's a tough situation, you know. Like I was not gonna go to 8%.
Yeah, I heard
I got
flip-flop.
I got bullied. I got bullied by group members, who both run other groups who come in here to harass me on my group, and but I ended up changing my mind, and so I'm gonna try to go. We're gonna try to go and kind of see how it goes, but I mean, I would not be surprised if we run into more lockdown when 8% happens, you know, in September. I mean, I'm hoping that's not the case. Got my fingers crossed. I really was looking forward to going, but it just seems like fall and, you know, that time of the year, I mean, it's probably more likely to get worse, not better. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree. And the thing is, like, I feel like when I take a negative point of view, like, you know, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be discouraging, but at the same time, like, I'm a realist. Like, I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. And like, I mean, guys, I missed the movie. Like, I was thinking about the movies the other day. Like, I love the movies. Like, I used to take my wife to the movies. Like, I would go to, oh man, I used to like sneak off to the movies by myself. Like, have you ever done like a midday, like a solo, just like midday movie? Like, oh my gosh, that's
Absolutely.
the best. Yeah. And you know, I don't even know what the last movie was I saw. I mean, it's been months. So like, I'm like the first one that's ready to try to get back to normal, to try to get back to like going places. But I just think the reality is, based on the situation, is it's going to take some time. It's going to take probably a lot more time. And I feel like there was this thought, this like collective idea at the beginning of this, where a lot of people thought this was going to be like a quick thing, like and part of it was the lockdowns, right? 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But yeah, unfortunately, the reality is it's probably going to be over a year till there's any type of normalcy. And who knows? Maybe it's even longer. I don't know. So, you know, plan your business. I saw a post today in Medicare Gurus, and it was a gal who said, hey, I'm trying to get things going. I normally sell Medicare face-to-face. I'm looking for ideas on what to do. And I didn't comment, but if I were to comment on that post, it was going to be like, sell over the phone. There you go. Like, here's a radical idea. Like, pick up the phone, do what you normally do, but do it on the phone. It's wild. You know, it's that easy.
Wild.
It's wild. You know, I don't know.
Oh man. I mean, I think a very, very interesting thing that's going on right now is how many agents are waiting till like September to start planning their marketing for AEP. That's nuts. Like, that's wild. You want to talk about something wild? Like, so we just dropped a very large amount of co-op with our FMO for our agents. And we're getting the orders in this month, basically, for some direct mail campaigns. We have to. Because if we wait till next month, you know, we're going to be in a situation where the zip codes are taken, or the areas are taken, or they're used up, or anything like that. I mean, I think you need to be planning out and kind of figuring out what your game plan is right now, in my opinion.
That's great advice. That really is great advice.
And you got to have a plan A, B, C, just in case, you know, like something does change dramatically with the lockdown. I mean, there's so many agents that I talk to, they're like, well, I'm not even going to think about AEP right now. And I'm like, why not? You know, like, I don't understand that. I'm like, why not?
Oh my gosh. You know, and the thing is, like, if you're listening to this and you just heard what Christian said, you might be thinking, because of 2020's chaos, people are waiting till the last second. But the reality is that agents tend to do that in general. I'm thinking back to last year's AEP. You know, it was about, October 2019. We took on like a month for our call center. It was like a month's worth of orders within like 2 or 3 days right before AEP. So again,
oh man,
just historically, like, I feel like agents scramble to the last set. Like, I don't know if it's just procrastination in general or what it is, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the same exact thing happen this year, where it's like the week before AEP, all of a sudden everyone's trying to buy leads at once. And yeah, dude, get it set up now. Get ready. Yeah, prepare for whatever you're doing. Get your AHIP done. Get your CRM ready. Pick out your if you don't have a CRM, get one. Some really basic things like, figure out what carriers, get licensed in a couple extra states, possibly if you're selling over the phone, there's a lot of really basic things that could take time that you don't want to wait till the last second. Props to, I'll give Joanna a shout out. I feel like she's been really pushing the AHIP. I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of people, if I'm being honest, pushing the AHIP early this year. So I think that's awesome. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. You don't know what else could come up down the road. Get ready now and just cruise later, and you're significantly more likely to be successful if you plan now for AEP versus waiting till that week before,
Yeah, for sure. Like, you've worked with a ton of agents, Glenn. Like, you've seen a lot of agents. You've worked with a lot of really, really productive agents. And I can honestly say, and I'm wondering if you feel this way too. I've never seen an agent that's just a superstar or a killer that has the tendency or the habit to postpone things like that.
They exist, but they're very rare birds.
Right.
And usually they burn out pretty fast.
Yeah.
They burn out because again, you're doing a lot more work in a short amount of time to try to compete with others, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a gentleman down in Florida, which there's a billion agents down in Florida, but this guy in particular, he was absolutely an animal on the phone. He sounded like a radio DJ. Like, he had the voice, he had the contracts, he's been doing it for a really long time. Super disorganized though, didn't have a CRM, type of agent that was buying leads at the last second. And, his success level, like he pulled it off. Like, he's one of the few out there that pulled it off. And I remember thinking at the time, like, this isn't really a traditional successful agent. He managed to make it work. I wouldn't recommend this. You're so much better off being organized. I feel like I talk about this every time I do anything. So I feel like I'm really beating a dead horse here. Like, I had at least one conversation today with an agency in Illinois, and same exact topic where I'm like, get a CRM, get organized, just track your leads. If you don't know what's going on with your marketing, you're not going to be successful. I lost money. Well, how much money did you lose? What was your cost per acquisition? How many clients did you close? How many do you need to follow up with? There's a lot of like really basic things that you can do as an agent, and it's going to set you up for success, even if you're not great at it, even if you're new, even if you're not Christian Brindle and you're a superstar agent stud. You can still you can compete with Christian, you guys. I promise. You don't have to shave your head. You don't have to shave your head to compete.
It's really not that hard. What I have going in my favor is all the agents are getting licensed in California and Florida, and they're just staying out of my prime state. And I prefer it that way. Just leave me alone,
You probably do have a nice air. I don't feel like there's a ton. On my side of the business, like when I'm seeing orders come through, it's rare that people request to target Utah. I will definitely say that.
And like one thing that's, I know we talked about this on Taco Tuesday number 2, but in Utah, particularly for like social media ads, and I think a lot of ads in general, the poll is not easy. Salt Lake City is not a great marketing target for some reason, whatever it might be, and I could wonder about this for days on why that is, but in some aspects, in some situations, it kind of helps us a little bit because there's not as much competition. And a lot of people do come here to retire, in maybe not as many as like a Florida or someone like that. But, I think people would rather retire in Utah than Indiana, or something like that.
I would.
I wouldn't want to be. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be hanging out with all those cornfields,
You don't want to retire on a farm, Christian? Come on.
Oh, as wonderful as that sounds with the smell and everything. I'm not a farm kind of person. Like I'm just not into it. I don't know what it is. I just am not. I'm a city boy.
You're a city slicker, huh? I'm
a city slicker, even though I live in not much of a city.
What do you think is the sleeper for this AAP? What do you think is like the hidden gem here coming up that a lot of agents aren't thinking about or aren't seeing? Maybe it's a software or a carrier or, what do you think it is?
I think there are two things. I believe that, okay, so this is going to sound a little hypocritical of me for some things I've said in the past.
This is being recorded. You know that, right? We can revisit this. Everyone. This never goes away. This is forever on the internet.
I think as we move into the 2020 year, I think more agents are starting to take use of Sunfire and ConnectSure. And I know everybody beats this to death. And we actually are in the process of just, getting on with Sunfire. And I've kind of been not critical of those things, but I've been in a situation where I'm just like, I could care less about those things because we've had our contracts spread across with different FMOs. And I have, there's an announcement coming in a couple of weeks about that I will not spoil today on Taco Tuesday, but it's going to be
Is it the next Taco Tuesday? Will that get announced on the next? Okay.
We'll do it on the next guys. Tuesday.
Stay tuned. Tuesday at 4:00.
Pacific
Standard.
We will be ready. We'll be ready. Yes. But anyway, like it's going to be more of a player, I think, this year for us in terms of our agents. Like I don't even know if I'll use it that much. Like I feel like the system I have down with doing what I do works well for me. And I don't really feel like I need to tinker with it too much. But I'll try it out. And I'll use it. We've tried demos and things like that with those programs over the years, and I've never been that enthralled with them really. But I think that's one thing. I think another thing that's going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out is this ongoing battle on the insulin prices. I don't know if you've been following that at all, but like there was the bill passed to basically put the cap on.
It's like $100 prices a month or something.
I think it was like $30. At $30.
$30. I thought it was $100 a month.
And at least that's what I remember reading. I could be wrong on that.
$100 a month for a 30-day supply? Was that it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm not sure. Now you got me thinking myself.
Well, I literally read a news article today that was talking about this. This wasn't even a senior. This was someone who was a type 1 diabetic who essentially couldn't afford insulin. His insulin cost, they cite in the article, it was like over $1,000 a month. And with everything going on this year, lost his income, couldn't afford his insulin, and he ended up passing away. So like, this is a real issue. This is a huge issue.
I think Rebecca Davis said in the comments, Rebecca Davis has been attacking us in the comments a little bit.
Oh boy. I'm gonna have to
she called us a Karen. I don't know if she called you a Karen or me a Karen, but she called someone a Karen. But she said $35. I think it was like for Medicare beneficiaries specifically. I think Medicare beneficiaries, the bill was passed that Medicare Part D drug plans can't charge more than $35 copays for a 30-day supply, which I'm interested to see how that's going to work with the coverage gap. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. Like, is it going to be a situation where in the coverage gap, they're bound to that specific cost and it can't be percentages anymore? Like, what's that's going to look like? Will they raise deductibles up? I mean, there's a lot of factors that we don't know about. And I think it's going to make a bigger change than people might be thinking.
I'm telling Rebecca, thank you right now. Thank you for keeping us honest. Free tacos for you. Free tacos.
Free tacos with every lead hero's lead order?
Yeah, not again. I'm still waiting for that one to bite me. Glenn, I placed $1,000. How many tacos do I get for $1,000 in leads?
A taco per dollar.
A taco per dollar. One thing I was so to go back to my question to you, I had a thought. So about like what's one thing that I think is going to be crazy to see play out this 2020 with AAP or AAP 2021 is the fact that people can now sell Medicare Advantage from home. You know, previously this was really locked down, like selling telesales of Medicare Advantage. It had to be in a call center environment. It was very regulated by CMS. And now, you know, as of this year, it's like the floodgates are open. I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm curious to see if this is something that they're going to pull back once there is some type of, you know, slowdown with the virus. I kind of feel like this is going to be the new normal with Medicare. I don't foresee them getting rid of, unless it goes like horribly wrong. I don't see why CMS would be like, oh, you have to be in a call center to sell Medicare Advantage. So I think that's potentially a really good thing for most Medicare agents, right?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I think anytime you can sell something over the phone, it's better. Like, so I haven't been shy over the years that I'm not a huge life insurance producer. But you know, sometimes I'll trip into one. So last year, I remember specifically, I was trying to write a final expense plan with Foresters. And I think we had just picked up the contract last year or something like that. And I was, you know, getting ready to do the electronic app and everything like this. And the guy was like 6 hours away from me. Like he was not anywhere close. And then it just didn't give me the option. And so I remember I call up Foresters, you know, like if it was a Medicare thing, I would just know off the top of my head, I can do this, I can do that. But like, since it's final expense, I didn't know. So I call up Foresters and they're like, yeah, you can only sell that product face to face. And I'm like, are you guys like in the Stone Ages? You know, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I remember just being so, irritated about that. And I ended up selling another carrier that I could do an electronic application for. But like now, if I remember correctly, Foresters has changed that to now you can do it electronically. I mean, I think just carriers are forced kind of in a way to make exceptions, because if they don't, they're not going to get any policies.
That is a positive change. You know, our industry is so slow to adapt to technology. I mean, name another industry that still talks about fax machines. I'll never forget. So again, I'm almost a decade into the industry. Like I first started selling insurance like almost 10 years ago. And I remember then I was baffled by the fact that fax machines were still like Americo. I remember with Americo, I could upload direct, like it was like a big deal. I was like, I can upload this app directly to Americo. I don't even have to fax it. This is awesome. And, you know, other carriers, like they only did fax. I'm just like, this is the craziest thing. You know, it's like 2010 at the time, 2011, and that we're faxing applications. So yeah, I think that is a positive change. I think the more, who else was it? I just saw an update. I think it was from Liberty Bankers Life Insurance. They are doing an application that it's being updated. I don't even think it's out yet. I think it's coming out. Shout out to Jeff Root. Jeff Root shared it in his Facebook group, and that's where I saw this. But yeah, they're coming out with a voice signature application where you don't need an email, which if you're selling final expense, you're dealing with seniors in the senior market. I can tell you firsthand because we talk to seniors every single day. I mean, we do tens of thousands of phone calls from our call center every single day. And there's a large portion of them that do not want an email and they do not want to get on a computer. You know, obviously there's some that are, you know, more technology savvy, who are happy to, you know, do business on the computer or over email. But I can tell you with knowledge firsthand that there is a large portion of seniors who still do not want to do business that way, who would much rather just have a phone call with a voice signature. So yeah, I would say I'm seeing the same thing on my end. There is positive change from the carriers being able to do business remotely. Hey, maybe by the end of the pandemic, I don't know what the pandemic, if I can talk
pandemic.
Hey, I was doing Canadian voices earlier. I guess I'm a hillbilly at heart.
And nailing it at that. And nailing it.
At the end of pandemic, whee! But maybe by the end of this, we'll be able to actually, no matter what carrier you have in your pocket, maybe you'll be able to do remote sales really easy. So, hey, that, there's a positive change, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and you're so right about some seniors not wanting to, do the whole email thing. Like there was a appointment I was doing, I think it was literally yesterday. If I remember, I think it was yesterday. And I was doing an appointment with a new agent of ours. And I was basically, doing the appointment with her and kind of having her watch me and, kind of observe kind of how I would do it. Well, this lady, I asked her, Mike, do you have an email address? I'm like, what? I'm like, I think it'd be easier for me to present this plan information to you if we can screen share. That way you can kind of see what I'm seeing. I think it would help out a little bit. Usually 9 times out of 10, that's no big deal. If they have email, they're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. This lady was adamant. She's like, I'm not going to let you take over my computer. And I'm like, ma'am, even if I knew, I'm like, first of all, I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, you're talking to literally a caveman in terms of technology and computers.
And that was hilarious.
And she just would not budge. And I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, no. I'm like, it gives you access to see my computer screen. I can't see yours. And she's like, that's what they say. And then there's $3,000 missing from my bank account. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, has this happened before? I'm like,
that's awesome.
If it did happen before, I feel terrible about that, and I'm sorry for her. But like, yeah, it was tough. It was tough because we're trying to explain something to her. She was not getting it. You know what I mean?
I've always kind of questioned the agents who are like, I do all screen shares. I'm like, really? I'm like, every presentation you do is a screen share. I'm like, what are you hitting like 66-year-olds who like are like what T65? I'm like, because anyone who's over 75 out in the sticks probably doesn't want to do a screen share. That's been my experience. But hey, to each their own.
What I find is if they have email and a working computer, that's usually not a big deal. But usually I think the ones that aren't comfortable doing screen share, one of those things is missing. They're either missing the email or the computer or the internet connection or something. Like they're just not, they don't use it on a regular basis. And it's usually about that 75 to 85-year-old that's just like, they just can't wrap their heads around it. So it makes things a little more tricky. But I don't believe that either. There's no way,
Yep. Or they've been hacked by Russia too many times. they've had too many Russian hacks on their computer. They're just done with it.
I have no idea what Rebecca Davis is talking about. I mean, in the comment section, I think she needs to talk about some MySpace advertising. Running MySpace
Karen.
Ads.
Is she calling me Karen? Rebecca, I need to know right now. Is Christian the Karen or am I the Karen? And personally, I think being bald translates to male Karen, which technically isn't male Karen Chad. I thought that was the 2020 slang. I don't know. I'm not up
Chad
to it anymore. Yeah, I thought Chad was like the male version of Karen. Texting. Oh, Jerry. Yeah. Jerry just commented.
Oh, yeah.
Texting. Yeah. There we go. That's it. Jerry. Thank you.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that one.
Yeah, that could be big. Again, when we're talking about like seniors with technology, I think text is probably one of the easiest barriers to cross, right? Mm-hmm. I think most seniors are texting before computers.
I think so. Like, I think that like when I'll train our agents that like when you get a lead, I think you need to be making anywhere between 5 to 10 contacts in the first couple of days. And what we found is, we have the automated workflow set up message. I find that usually I have a better chance of them responding to the text message than the email. Probably a pretty significant higher amount, actually.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have permission to contact, absolutely, I would send them a text message. I think existing clients too. Existing clients, if you're following up, I think that's a big deal. And there's a lot of automation software out there too, built-in CRMs. I think that's probably going to be the next big thing. A lot of people are already doing that. There's so many different platforms. One that isn't specifically for Medicare per se, but Better Agency. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're geared a little more towards P&C, but that's kind of their whole platform is their CRM that's kind of built around these automations with text messages. But I'm assuming, so like Sunfire, and what's the other platform that you were talking about?
The other one is Connecture. Now I was looking over here because the two guys that run Better Agency, there's Nick Ayers, who you talked to.
Yeah. And Will Shaw.
And then the other guy, I thought Preston helped run that too.
There's like 4 of them now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually went to high school with Will Shaw. And so
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he had like a company before. It was called like Capsule 5. And they basically built like automations on Infusionsoft. Mm-hmm. So there was a company before. They took Infusionsoft, and then Infusionsoft sucks. I've never really used it that much, but from what I've seen, it's not great. And there's kind of too many moving parts. So they basically said, screw it, we're scrapping this. And then they built software from scratch. And from what I've seen, it looks awesome. My only disappointment or critique is that it's really built for P&C agents and like for Medicare or life agents or final expense agents. I think there would be a lot more customizations. That's what Nick and I talked about anyways last time I talked to him. But what other
but the reason I bring that up is because I read Preston's book last year. And I'm trying to find it over on my bookshelf there.
What's his book?
It's really, really good. Like, I recommend it. I'm trying to find it. I don't know what I did with it. I have way too many books. Like that.
It's cute that you pretend that you read books. I think that's adorable.
Hey, those who can't do pretend. Is that what they say?
I was elected to
lead, not to read.
Yes. I was elected to lead, not to read.
Anyway, I can't find it. I know it's over there somewhere, but it's a really, really good book. I think it's like, I can't remember the name of it. I'll post it in the comment sections when we're done here. But
Jerry says Preston and Billy. I guess are they part of the crew, the Better Agency?
I never heard of Billy.
I think there's 4 people involved. But what's another? Yeah. Isn't there another platform that's like really big on automation, like with text? Or I thought there was at least one more. Maybe not.
Medicare Center. Does Medicare Center do it? I don't know. That I'm not sure of.
I don't know. That's something that's coming up for sure, though. I just with text messages, I just be careful. That's my my 2 cents when it comes to marketing for text messages. I had a friend in the real estate space who was doing a lot of text messages, and they got in trouble. So be careful. Make sure you have permission before sending out too many texts.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a question for Mr. Glen Shelton.
Let me see if I can get him. What's your question?
Okay, so here's my question. Let me see if I can get him.
Yeah, let me get him on the line for you, sir.
Let me get him on the line. Is that what you do during the day? Like when someone calls, you're like, let me see if he's available. You're like, Glen, phone.
And then, hello, thank you for calling Lead Heroes. This is Glen's assistant. Are you looking to buy leads?
Okay, so what areas do you think, for someone that markets all over the country, what markets do you feel are the best for people to target during AEP?
That's a good question. We talked about this a little bit previously.
I know we talked a lot about the worst markets.
The worst markets, right. And so there's always good places and bad places. It's very technical, I know. If you could, and we have a map on leadheroes.com. If you go to our order page and you go at the top of our order page is the order form, and then there's the samples of our leads, and then underneath the samples of our leads, we have a heat map of Medicare Advantage penetration, and it's per county for the entire US. And this map, the reason I bring this up is it's very similar to the population density. If you were to take a population density map of the US and you were to overlay it with the Medicare Advantage, and again, we all know Medicare Advantage, it's all network based. So they typically, more people are on Medicare Advantage in big cities. It's just kind of the natural tendency, right? So if I were to pick a county or a state to spend marketing dollars in, if it was me and I was going to go drop 5 or 10 grand for AAP, and I'm trying to make that dollar go as far as possible, right? Because the cost of 1,000 mailers or cost of, if you're hiring a telemarketer, whatever it is you're doing for marketing, Facebook ads, if you're spending your own dollars on that, your dollar will go further in the least densely populated areas. So, if you look at it, almost every state has good parts and bad parts. Some states are pretty bad. Florida, New York, New Jersey, California. So some states are pretty bad because they're densely populated. There's other states where it's not very densely populated and it's great. Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Utah. Everybody's selling Utah. Take Christian's clients. Hurry.
Rebecca Davis is in the comments saying, Utah's my favorite. I'm like, oh, I'm about to throw you out of this.
Rebecca, go back to your Facebook group, please. Leave us alone.
Don't talk about Utah when you go back.
Stop calling us Karens. Male Karens. It's Chads. It's Chads, Rebecca. We're Chads, okay? We're cool.
Yeah, Chad is the cool guy on the playground.
Utah is great though, like except for Salt Lake. Salt Lake's not great, but outside of Salt Lake and Oregon, which is very close to me, Portland's terrible, but outside of Portland, Eastern Oregon's fantastic. Southern Oregon's great. Washington, again, Seattle area sucks, but Eastern Washington's awesome. So, if you're paying a fixed cost per lead, then it doesn't really matter as much. But if you're dropping per 1,000, or you have a telemarketer, or you're spending, you have your own Facebook ads you're running and you're geo-targeting certain areas, then you want to look at the density, the population density of that area. Now with and with Medicare supplements, definitely the more rural, the better. With Medicare Advantage, when AEP kicks up, you can spend money on these more densely populated areas, but again, you're competing with more people. Most of the marketing dollars is going towards these more densely populated areas. That's why the response is higher when you target the less densely populated areas, because less people are targeting these areas. Most people are sloppy with their marketing dollars. Most people are just slapping money at it. Oh, hurry, hit, just picking states, and they're just throwing money at these states. So that's exactly what I would do. If I were spending money on AAP or even tomorrow on marketing, I'm looking at the population density either per county or statewide, and I'm targeting the areas that are less densely populated because they are going to have a higher response rate. There it is.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. And that's been my experience too. Anytime we've ran any kind of advertising, it's been, when we've targeted big areas, like we've tried to, a couple of years ago, I tried to do some, it was about last year, actually, the last time we did it, we tried to run some Facebook advertising in Florida, and boy, did that not go well. And it was just one of those things, it's one of those things. I'm so distracted by the comments.
Yeah, Rebecca's
I am so distracted by the comments.
Rebecca, we're just teasing you.
Yeah,
I think she thinks we're genuinely upset.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I think Rebecca might have to come on our next Taco Tuesday.
Oh, I might. I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a special guest.
Rebecca and I did a video about 3-4 weeks ago, and it was awesome. And she was awesome. She was the Medicare Wonder Woman.
I will say, I do see, Rebecca, your grassroots marketing tips, which I think is awesome, because usually it's like free stuff you can do to try to generate business. And I think that's something that almost everybody doesn't pay attention to. So shout out to you, Rebecca. Medicareville, right? Medicareville. Join the group.
Yep, Medicareville.
Rebecca, you can pay me for that sponsorship, that advertisement later, go ahead, just write the check.
Yeah, just checks in the mail.
Or pay for tacos. Maybe she pays for tacos next Tuesday. We'll bring her on. She buys us tacos.
So if she places the tacos in the mail today, they might get here in time for next
frozen.
week.
You get the tacos, you freeze the tacos, then you ship the frozen tacos.
I think the rule is no matter how moldy they are when we open them up, we still have to eat them.
Ugh, moldy tacos. Well, we're coming up on the hour mark, so I don't want to keep you, Mr. Brindle, too long, or any of our awesome guests that are watching, our audience that's watching. What are your final thoughts here on Taco Tuesday Part 3? Anything you'd like to share? Anything exciting you have coming up? I know you hinted at some sort of big FMO, possibly software.
So
you don't want to just try. I'll give you permission if you want to say it right now. That's fine.
I can't say it right now. I'll tell you once we stop live.
Did you get bought by Integrity Marketing too? Is that what happened? Did Integrity Marketing buy your agency? Holy cow!
Actually, as hilarious as it is, it does involve Integrity Marketing. But can't say any more than that. I would say, in terms of, I think any of you new agents out there that are just getting into the business, don't wait to do your AHIP. Get on it right now. Start studying right now. Pay your money to get into it right now. Don't wait till September. I would just, and we'll find out if you can be an agent or not. If you can get through the AHIP, because I would say if I send out 10 contracts to 10 new agents, I think probably 6 of them won't even fill it out.
Sounds about right.
And so just take the time, get through the AHIP. Don't wait. Don't put it off. And if you have already gotten through your certifications and your AHIP, don't wait till AEP to start selling. You should be selling right now. Formulate an AEP strategy, but sell right now. Sell 265 people. Go after the dual market. Make sure that you're making some sales. Get with Glen and do some Medicare supplement changeovers. I think there's too many people out there that take the approach that I'm going to start an AEP, and I wouldn't recommend that personally. This is a year-round selling business if you let it be.
I think that's great advice. And I do think that's something that most agents, it's similar to when you're dealing with a senior, right? When you're dealing with a senior and you're trying to explain to them open enrollment, and they think that they can't do anything unless it's open enrollment. Well, yeah, some people, right? There's certain situations where they can only change during open enrollment, but there's also a ton of other stuff you can be doing year round. And that was kind of like a myth that I felt like that was alive in the industry. I mean, I'm sure it's probably still alive today, but specifically when I came into the industry, that was definitely a thing where people were like, oh, well, I can't sell Medicare until October. It's like, no, med subs, like you just said, I mean, med subs year round, T65s year round, dual eligible for the MA market, low income, that's year round. Birthday rule in Oregon, California,
5-star plans. Yeah. If there's one in your market,
there's states that are guaranteed issue year round, period. Washington, I think Maine's another one. I mean, so yeah, I think I like the kind of the theme, I think, of this Taco Tuesdays, be prepared, right? Be prepared for now, be prepared for 2020 to throw who knows how many more curveballs. Kanye's going to be president. So
I wonder how much funding he's going to put into Medicare.
Yeah.
In 2021.
2021, Medicare is going to just explode once Kanye takes over.
So when he campaigns, I think everyone should wear those those glasses that he used to wear with like the filters, the slide. Yeah. I would wear those. Although you can't really see them.
I love it.
Well, any final thoughts from you, Glen?
No, I think that's, I like I said, I like the be prepared thing. I think what happened in March I don't think anyone could have really been prepared for when this whole thing started, with coronavirus, with the lockdown. But there's really no excuse by the end of this year, right? I mean, after everything we've seen, after, oh, it's getting better. Oh, it's coming back, oh, lockdowns. Like, I'm sure there's still more that could come that will surprise me. I'm sure there will be more surprises, but at this point, be prepared to sell over the phone, be prepared to sell remotely, be prepared for seniors to not want to see you face to face, whether that, even if things are better. We talked about this, I think, on one of our Taco Tuesdays as well. Even if things get better, guys, the stigma around everything that's already happened is probably not going to go away. So be prepared. Be prepared to sell remotely. Be prepared. Get your AHIP. Be prepared. Get a CRM set up. Just be ready. That's it.
I agree. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you for spending some time with us. And if you like these Taco Tuesdays and you want to see more of them, let us know. Maybe at some point this will turn into a weekly thing. We'll see.
I'm down. I think we need a weekly show.
I agreed. I think we should do it. I think we should make it happen.
Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Oh wait, we're not.
Drop a like. Yeah. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell. You want the notification as soon as this thing goes live.
That's hilarious. But yeah, seriously, drop a comment, you guys. Tell us what you think. We want to do more of these. If you guys are into them, if you want to talk about a certain topic, we're more than open to it. So let us know. Till next time. Till next Tuesday.